Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building another family home, and this time I am building here in the world of Copperdale, which is of course the world that we got in the high school years expansion pack. So for this house, I really just wanted to build something that was a pretty large family home. It ends up having 3 bedrooms. I thought it might end up having more, but the upstairs really wasn't that big. I made the parents' bedroom downstairs. They have like a full-on master suite, and then the 2 teenager rooms are upstairs, and then they have a bathroom upstairs as well. But yeah, I wanted to build a large family home, but I also wanted it to feel quite modern and rustic at the same time. And so I imagine that this house has been like renovated over time and things have been changed, and just things to make it a little bit more modern, but it's not super modern. And I also wanted to do a different color scheme than I've been doing, or at least have done before. So it definitely is very different. And the interior color scheme was inspired by the landscaping because I used some purple flowers and purple bushes, and I thought I might as well do a purple interior because that's a color scheme that I don't typically do. And I knew we got some great colors with like Dream Home Decorator, or I think Seasons has some nice purple furniture. I was planning on using the Seasons couches, but I ended up using furniture from Dream Home Decorator. But it was really a fun interior and very different than I think an interior that I've done before. I've used that color, but I think maybe in like an apartment or more subtly. This one was definitely more heavily used throughout the entire house. So hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully it's not too purple. I mean, I really love the color purple in real life, but I don't think I would necessarily like it for a main interior color. But let me know what you guys think. But I think the overall shape of the house is really nice. I love the exterior, how I combined different sidings with the shingle siding, the plain siding. I don't know what you call like just the regular horizontal siding. And then some stone texture as well, which I thought was really pretty. And I just really think like gray houses go so nicely in Copperdale. I don't know if it's just like the lighting or the atmosphere, or I don't know exactly what it is, but I also think the like craftsman style also goes really nicely here. So that's another sort of like thing I was thinking about while building in this world. I think that just like the craftsman style goes nicely. So mainly for like the doors and windows, I used Seasons. I used a couple of things from the Moschino stuff pack and maybe a couple of other packs, but mainly I used Seasons. Another thing that I was thinking about while I was building this, or at least what I wanted to do, was to have 2 teenagers who were completely different than one another. So I decided to make it more of like an opposite teen household. The parents, I kind of put them to the side. I really don't know what they do for a living or who they are or what they're into. I don't know anything about the parents. They're a complete mystery to me. But the teenagers in this house, they are so different from one another. One of them, I think, is very much into like music and dancing and acting, and they're quite rebellious and, maybe wear a lot of makeup and don't follow the rules. They question authority constantly, and they're probably kind of difficult to deal with. And I felt like that was very realistic for like a teenager, because a lot of teenagers are like that, because that's just, I feel like the nature of being a teenager is to be like maybe not necessarily rebellious, but definitely to push the boundaries and the limits and to test yourself and to test the people around you. And it's just kind of the way it goes for a lot of teenagers. So I wanted to show that in one of the teens' rooms, and I think the room ended up being so cool and so different, because I've definitely made a lot of teenagers' rooms for a teen who is into music, but I was kind of going more for that like electronic music feel, or maybe like DJ music, and so the way I decorated their room influenced that. And then for the other teen, I was thinking they are a lot more studious, and they follow the rules, and they like school, and they listen to their parents, and they really are kind of like an overachiever, and they've kept a lot of their school projects throughout the years. So I kept some things in there that looked like maybe a child would have made them, like a child sim, and a few sort of more like sentimental things, or at least sentimental to this particular teen. Like I used the parenthood plate that has like the kids drawing on it, and I put that in there, and I was thinking it was something they made as a child, and they kept it. And also some like void critter cards I put in there. And so I thought that was kind of a fun thing just to show that they have some things that they're still holding on to from when they were a kid, and maybe they've only recently became a teenager. I was thinking they don't necessarily have to be like close in age. Well, I mean, they're probably pretty close in age within like a few years, but I don't think they're like twins necessarily. But of course you could have them be twins if you would like to. But yeah, this teen is also really into computers and science, and so I tried representing that with like the posters and decorations that I used in their room. And I'm just completely obsessed with the teenager rooms. I think they turned out to be so good, like both of them, I just love. I also really love the landscaping that I did on this build. As you can see, I'm starting with it now, and I'm using these purple bushes. They actually came from Outdoor Retreat, and you can find them in the live edit objects. And I just thought they were so pretty, and like the color of them, I thought just complemented the house, and I thought they looked pretty in the world. And so I just thought that that was a really nice color to use, and why I did the interior purple as well. And then for the rest of the landscaping, I mainly used a lot of trees and bushes and different greenery, just to make it feel more just like kind of lush and natural. I mean, Copperdale is mostly like a wilderness type world, and it's like very much like a small town, and so I didn't want it to be too heavily manicured. Not that, I mean, you could totally live in like a small town and have it be manicured, but this part of the world is more like rural and foresty, and like this lot doesn't even have like a proper driveway leading to it, and no like sidewalk and stuff. So I definitely wanted the landscaping to reflect that and feel more natural, and yeah, basically more organic, I guess. But I don't know, I'm completely obsessed with it. I also used a regular build and buy plant that has flowers on it, and I used them in a purple color as well, and so I thought that looked pretty nice. Over here I'm going to fence in this side yard area, and I really wanted to use this live edit objects stone fence because I thought it would just complement the house really nicely. I like the color of it and everything, but I wasn't sure if this particular one would be like visible to your Sims, if they would walk through it or not, and I didn't want the Sims like walking through the fence. I think the way I ended up decorating it, they probably wouldn't anyways. They would probably go through the gate because I think that's probably like the best path. But what I decided to do was use a fence and then hide it inside the live edit objects fence. And so since the regular fence is there, then that'll block the Sims, and they'll just go through the normal way through the gate. But in there, I put a hot tub, some planter boxes, and I continued with the landscaping and stuff. Oh yeah, I also used those really nice low-lying white flowers. We have a couple of different variations of them. One that came from Outdoor Retreat, I think maybe one from like Vampires. I might be getting that wrong, but I know we have like one or two other packs where we get those really nice low-lying white flowers, and then we also have like a pinkish purple variation of them, and then we got another one, and that's the one that I'm using here that came with High School Years, and it has a bit of a different texture, but it's still pretty much like the same plant. But I thought it looked really pretty in here with like in combination with the purple and all of the green. I thought it just kind of balanced it out really nicely. Over here I was trying to figure out what to do with the trash cans and how I was going to place them. I didn't want them to feel just like awkwardly placed over here on the side of the house. And then I tried mimicking some of the landscaping that I saw around the lot, and that really wasn't working out for me, so I decided just to put a tree over there and just some like grass, and I think that worked out pretty nicely. And then over here I do continue with the gravel pathway leading to the hot tub, into like the back fence area, and also to the porch in the front of the house, and I think that ended up looking pretty nice. And then here I'm just continuing with the same landscaping around this tree. I thought this tree looked so cool over here and like so unique. It came with Outdoor Retreat, and it just looks like it's been like kind of bended and warped over time. Like maybe somebody actually took some like wire and purposely changed the shape of the tree as it was growing, and I think it just looks so cool and unique, and I thought it would be really nice to be able to look through what ends up being the dining area into that tree. I just thought that would look really pretty. So I think it does. Here I'm just adding some exterior lighting. Usually I only add the exterior lights like by the doors, like a couple on the exterior of the house, but this time I decided to incorporate it around the landscaping, and I think it looks really good for this particular build anyways. But here I'm starting off with the living room area. I knew I wanted to use a purple couch, so I figured I would start off with the living room and get that all figured out and situated, and I went with this couch that came from Dream Home Decorator, and I was going to use the ones that came from Seasons. I like the Seasons ones, but something about like the proportions of the couch just feels a little bit awkward. Like the back of those couches are so low, and it just makes them look so uncomfortable, because I feel like if you were to lean back on them, you wouldn't have any support. It would only be like lower back support, and you would just kind of like fall all the way backwards if you really leaned back. So I don't know, that tends to make me not want to use them for that reason. But yeah, I thought these Dream Home Decorator couches and chairs, or couch and chairs, looked really nicely, and I especially like the couch because it has pillows on it and it just makes it look so comfortable. And then for the coffee table, I'm using the one that came from Snowy Escape. I thought that looked really pretty, and I liked the wood tone. I'm using a lot of different wood tones in this build, by the way. Like the wainscoting on the wallpaper has a little bit of like a, I really don't know, it's kind of like more of like a muddy brown texture. Like it's not like a true dark brown or like an orangey brown or a yellow brown or like honey or whatever you want to call it. It's just, it has like a bit of a like a grayness to it, but also a redness to it. I really don't know. It's just kind of like more of a muddy brown texture or color. And I thought that actually looked really nice, but I liked using the different color of brown with like the coffee table and the side table that I used. And then also like the dining table in here ends up having like a combination of both of those. And then the Dream Home Decorator items has more of that like reddish, rich brown color. I don't know, it's kind of all over the place, so I'm not exactly sure how a lot of you guys are going to like this build, or if you're even going to like it, but definitely let me know. But I was trying to do something different and trying to use different colors than I typically use, and use them in a different way than I've used them before, so we'll see. But anyways, over here is going to be the dining room. I thought this room would be perfect for a formal dining room because it has the large windows, and I just absolutely love dining spaces that have like nice bright light in it, you know, so big windows work really nicely with that. And here I'm just picking out different decorations. I'm also using a Seasons siding and stone texture in here, and I was going to use this same stone texture in the bathrooms, and I don't end up doing that. I end up using a Parenthood tile wallpaper in those areas, but I decided to leave it in this room. And I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like it's definitely different, and I was just trying to show that kind of like rustic craftsman look, I guess. But for the bathrooms, I just felt like it made them look cold, and I think that might have been like the ceiling light that I was using in there. I think that's probably it, but yeah, I just ended up not really liking it for those spaces, but for the dining room, I thought it was pretty nice. And then over here is going to be the kitchen. I actually really love the kitchen. I'm using the Dream Home Decorator counters and cabinets, and then I'm using them in the same wood tone that matches the furniture that I used in the living room and the chairs in the dining room. And I actually think it looks really good. I was kind of unsure about it because just the wood tone is just so, I don't know, it's quite red. I don't know, it's a different wood tone, and it's definitely very different than the other woods that I'm using, especially like the wainscoting in here. But I think somehow it ends up working in a way. I don't know, let me know if you guys agree, but I just, yeah, I think the shape of the kitchen actually is what I like the most about it, because it's kind of a unique shape. And then in here, I decided to put a little like breakfast table. It only has 2 seats at it just because I didn't really have like a whole lot of room. But the table and chairs that I use in here came from Snowy Escape, and I thought it kind of brought in some of that like brown tone that I used with the coffee table and the side table in the living area. And then here I'm just picking out a couple of different decorations to clutter up the counter with, trying to not make it feel too messy, but definitely lived in. And then over here I just put this nice little side table. with a nice decoration above it and then on it. And then something that I want to mention about the refrigerator. So I actually merged the refrigerator into both a counter and a cabinet, and I went to go play test it because I really wasn't sure if it was going to work. And so I removed the counter because I was like, that's definitely going to block the refrigerator, and I didn't realize that I left it there. And then so I tried making it work with just the overhead cabinet, but unfortunately it does block the refrigerator from being usable, so I had to remove it and just put a lower cabinet above the refrigerator. So I was kind of disappointed about that because I really wanted it to look like more of like a built-in cabinet around the refrigerator that the refrigerator was like set into. But it just didn't work out that way. So you won't see it in the screenshots, but you'll see it if you decide to download the build. And the build will be on the gallery, but it'll also be up early on my Patreon page. So those of you guys that are on my Patreon, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching the video early. In case you guys haven't heard me talk about this yet, I am now offering my builds and videos early, so you guys can download them before they're on the gallery, and you guys can see the unlisted video before I make the video live. So if you guys are interested in that, I will have a link to my Patreon page in the description box. But over here is going to be a laundry room, and I was actually really excited about this room because sometimes when I make spaces for laundry and builds, they're kind of small and cramped, but this one was like a true proper laundry room. There was lots of space in here. I was able to fit several different laundry hampers and different laundry clutter and just make it feel like Sims have been actively using this room and doing their laundry. And I just thought this room looked so good. It's one of my favorites in the entire house, and I really liked that I put that pile of clothes on the floor because, I mean, the house has teenagers in it, and so I'm sure they're constantly just leaving their clothes around and not really thinking about it. Like even the Sim that I imagined is a bit more like well-behaved basically, or a little bit more aware of those sorts of things, I still imagine they're a teenager, and so things get forgotten or left behind like clothes and stuff. But I do think they're a lot more tidy and clean and organized than their sibling. Over here is going to be the downstairs bathroom. So this is just going to be the regular bathroom that the Sims would use while they're in the living room or in the kitchen or whatever, or guest would use. And I decided to fit a bathtub in here. Right now I'm trying to like fit it in this corner, and it's kind of awkward and weirdly placed. So what I ended up doing is actually moving the door over slightly so I can fit it along this wall, and it's a little bit less awkward in my opinion. And then I have this nice little stool next to it where I put some decorations, just these nice little lotions or perfumes or powders. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but they came from the Vintage Glamour stuff pack. And it feels weird saying a stuff pack because I feel like I hardly ever say stuff pack anymore. Like it's been over a year now since we've got a stuff pack, and that was the paranormal stuff pack. And I really like the paranormal stuff pack, and I really like a lot of the stuff packs, so I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest, because I don't think we're ever getting one again. Like I really don't have high hopes for it. Let me know if you guys have hopes for it or what you guys think about it, but I feel like they're over. It's sad. But we're actually getting some really nice kits now. I'm pretty excited about the next two kits. They're like, there's a clutter one, which I'm very, very excited about. And the other one is more like it has some more colorful pieces. I forget the name of it or like the exact theme, but it looks really interesting. But those are going to be coming out on the 10th. And so, I'm excited. But anyways, here is going to be the master bedroom. So it's the parents' bedroom, of course, and they have an ensuite. So it's a full master bedroom, and I really like the room. I think it came together really nicely. It's pretty simply decorated, but it still feels fully decorated. It feels, I don't know, like it's not missing anything, but it's definitely a little bit more spacious. And I think that's just like the size of the room, and also the shape of the room didn't really lend itself to be too crowded. Like there's quite a bit of space here in the center, but I think it turned out to be pretty nice. And then it's nice and open to the bathroom, which is something you guys probably know that I really like to do when I'm making ensuite bathrooms, is to have it be open, because I just feel like it's kind of nice in a way to be able to look into the bathroom, which is probably not something most people would really want. I mean, I mentioned this before, my master bedroom has an ensuite bathroom and it's open to the bedroom, but the toilet's in its own separate room, but like the shower and the sink is open to the master bedroom. And I don't know, I really like it. And I think for screenshots, I also really like it in builds, just because I feel like it looks really nice to be able to see into a different room. And that's why I always use like archways to separate spaces, just because I like the open flowiness when taking screenshots, I guess. And then over here is going to be their ensuite bathroom. So it's pretty similar to the other bathroom, just a little bit bigger. And this one has a shower as well as a tub. And then the upstairs bathroom ends up only having a shower. So you'll see that in just a little bit. But yeah, I think this room turned out to be pretty nice. And then over here, I'm just gonna add a little painting at the top of the stairs, and then we're moving on to the second floor. And then up here at the top of the staircase is just like a little landing area. I decided to remove those windows and just put two of these doors next to each other. And I really like the way this looks, because I wanted to have the windows at the same level as the doors, but then they were a different level than the rest of the windows, and it was not working out for me. And so I decided just to put two of those doors there, and I think that looked really good just because it made it nice and open, and I liked the black because it matched some of the black windows that I was using, and also the black door that I used below. And then you can really see like the great view of the carnival area with the Ferris wheel and all of the water and stuff. Like, this lot has the best view of that area. Like, it looks so good. And then over here is going to be that upstairs bathroom that I was talking about. So this is going to be the bathroom that the teens share, and it's again a pretty simply decorated bathroom. I mean, it's still cluttered and has all of the necessary bathroom items, but it's not overly decorated. I've been doing this a lot more recently with my builds, where I'm not trying to add as much clutter as I possibly can, but still enough clutter to make it feel decorated. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, I guess, something I'm into at the moment when it comes to building, but I really like the way their bathroom turned out. And yeah, I don't know, I really like this tile too. While I was building, I really wasn't sure about it because it has some different colors than the rest of the build, and so I wasn't sure if it was complementing it or it was too contrasting or too unmatching, but I think somehow it works. But yeah, over here is going to be the first teenager room that I decorate. So this teen is going to be the one that's into music and dancing, and I really think they're just into like nightclubs and maybe even like rave scenes and stuff like that. I think they probably want to get into DJing. I would have loved to fit a DJ booth in here, but the room was just not big enough. But I did manage to fit a microphone in here, a guitar, a keyboard, and a double bed. I decided to push the bed up against the wall. That way the sim had more room in here for activities and stuff. And I also add a couple of lights in here, and I changed the color of them, and I put one above the walk-in closet, and I changed the color to purple, and then I ended up putting another one above the bed. I changed the light on the nightstand. I changed the color of that one too, but it didn't really affect the overall color of the room, and so I ended up switching it back to just like a regular like white light color. But over here I put this nice shelf that we just got with high school years and some hanging clothes that came with that expansion pack, and I thought this totally looked like clothes that I imagined this sim would wear, so I thought that looked really good. And then other than that, I was just trying to pick out like posters and artwork and stuff that I thought showed the Sim's personality. And thankfully with high school years, we got tons of posters and things that work perfectly for a Sim that likes music, because there's all of these like CDs and records and things that you can put on the walls, and they're very colorful and very much something I imagine the Sim would be into. So it was really fun decorating this room, but I really think once I changed the light color, it like really gives it that atmosphere that I was going for. And so I think that was a good choice. But yeah, I ended up putting the light over here above the closet, and I really like that I was able to fit a closet in both of these Sims rooms, because then I didn't have to use a dresser, but it also filled in this awkward space really nicely where windows didn't really fit on the exterior, and also just like the shape of the room would have been a little bit more awkward if I didn't fill them in with the closet. So I was pretty happy about that. There I just put some floor clutter on the ground. I really like these ones because again, it looks like clothes that I imagine this Sim would wear, and like a bag I imagine this Sim would own and things like that. And so I thought it looked so good and just complemented the overall style. Over here I kind of struggled with picking out decorations to put next to the closet, but these ones I think worked out pretty nicely. And then here is where I add the second light that I was talking about, and I just put it up here. And I liked these lights because it looks like ones that the teen would have added to their room on their own, and not something that would have been like installed in like the construction of the house or something. And there I briefly thought about changing the color of the bed. I looked at like a few different swatches, but I didn't find one that I absolutely loved for that room as much as the one that I originally had, so I decided just to leave that one. And then over here is going to be the other teen's room. So like I was talking about earlier, this teen is much more of a goody two-shoe in a way. They're a lot more studious, and they care about school, and they care about being smart and good at things. I think both of them are plenty smart, but this one definitely strives to be smart and reads a lot, and probably maybe even gets a little bit like cocky and maybe even a little bit snotty about like how much they think of their own intelligence in a way. But I really just enjoyed picking out like the different posters and the different sort of decorations that kind of went along with a sim that's a lot more into schoolwork and science. And I think they're not just into science, like they're into math, and they're into probably mostly the STEM subjects, but they're also into like reading and I don't know, history and other things, but primarily they're into like the STEM subjects. So mainly I showed that with like the posters and stuff that I used. I also gave this sim a desk in here with a really nice computer. It's not like the fanciest computer that we have, but it's one of the most expensive. And I just imagine that this sim has been tinkering with it. They're really into like engineering and computer sciences. So I tried to show that over here in this computer space. So I used one of the little robot decorations that we got from Discover University as just like a decoration to put over here on the table, and I thought that looked really good. And for the color scheme in here, I mainly went for like a soft blue color, and I thought that looked really nice. And we have great decorations that came with high school years and other packs that come in like soft blue colors, so it made it pretty easy to find like matching decorations and stuff. And I also used lots of school projects in here that we got from like Parenthood, and then you may have noticed I also used that plate from Parenthood that has the artwork on it, and I just thought it was kind of sentimental and something this kid has kept, and even though they're a teenager and not like a child sim anymore. And then also the void critter cards, I was thinking along the same lines, so I thought that was pretty fun. And I really just enjoyed adding the different clutter pieces, and also this child artwork I thought was something that maybe this teen has also kept. And so yeah, I really liked that. Over here I was trying to figure out something to fill in this space, and I decided to put this side table with a school project on it. I think I actually ended up getting rid of the school project just because it wasn't really fitting on the table properly, and I thought maybe since this sim is into computers, maybe they're into video games, so I put a TV over here as well as a gaming console, and then just a few decorations down here on the bottom. And yeah, I think this room just has so much personality. Same with the other one. Like, I'm completely obsessed with both of these teen rooms. But yeah, anyways, that's it for the entire interior. Here on the exterior, I'm gonna add a couple of lounge chairs to this top balcony because I really imagine your Sims would want to lounge there and look at the view, and then a dining table down here. And then this is it for the build. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and I hope you guys do enjoy the screenshots. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
About to leave, already packing, come with me, I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions, we'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, down with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche, we're on the run, this is what we waited for. Oh, yeah.